You'd think photographing a wildlife silhouette would be easy. Just point your camera at the glowing sky and fire away, right? But anyone who's tried it knows how often those shots fall flat. The animal's outline isn't defined, the colors look dull, or the scene just lacks that magic you saw with your eyes. In this video, I'm going to take you through how I approach wildlife silhouettes in the field, how to pick the right subjects, read the light, and lock in the camera settings that particularly guarantee a bold, clean result every time. At the end, I'll share a few common mistakes to avoid so your next silhouette photo opportunity ends with something worth printing, not deleting. My name is Charl and I'm a professional wildlife photographer with Pangolin photo safaris. A big part of my job is helping my guests understand camera settings while out in the field and to nail shots like these every time. Before I explain the key elements of silhouette photography, it's important to know what the silhouette is. A silhouette is a photo where the subject is in total darkness and the background is brightly lit, creating a dramatic outline of the subject. It's all about contrast. Timing your shots is crucial, as it can make or break a silhouette. The best time to capture silhouettes is during sunrise or sunset, when the sun is low in the sky. This provides the ideal lighting conditions to create a strong contrast between the animal and the sky. You preferably want a subject with a strong shape that's easily recognizable, like a bird in flight, a giraffe on the horizon, or a lion lying down with its head up. It's crucial to expose for the background light. Don't worry about the details in your subject. Positioning is key when it comes to silhouettes. To get the best results, place the sun or bright light behind your subject. This will create a stark contrast between the dark subject and the bright sky, making for a striking image. Camera settings are key. To get the right exposure balance between the subject and the sky, you want to underexpose your image. How much will depend on the composition. You want the deep contrast of a dark subject while holding the rich colors of the background. This will help keep the subject shape defined while also capturing the details in the sky. I personally prefer to shoot fully manual or manual with auto ISO. I want to be in full control of the shutter speed and aperture according to my settings out in the field, while keeping an eye on the ISO so it doesn't go too high. To achieve this, set your camera to manual mode or manual with auto ISO. Use a small aperture between f8 and f11 for sharpness. Keep your ISO low to reduce noise. And set the shutter speed according to your subject movement. Here are some rough figures. If the subject is static, I like to use a minimum shutter speed of 500 of a second. For a slow moving subject, like a lion walking on the horizon, I'll increase it to 800 of a second. For something faster, like a bird in flight, try a minimum of 1600 if the light allows it. And once again, make sure the exposure is set for the background, not the subject. Most cameras will have trouble focusing with the bright light of the sun behind the subject. So it's important to be mindful of your focus when taking silhouette shots. A little trick is to shoot with a single focus point and move it into a position between the subject and the sky. In other words, in a place with high contrast. This will make it much easier for the autofocus of your camera. If all fails, you can switch your lens to manual focus and use focus peaking to get accurate focus on the subject. When shooting against the sun, you'll often have issues with the sun blowing out large parts of your photos. Lens flare can also be a problem when taking photos directly against the sun. While lens flare can sometimes be used for a creative effect, more often than not, it's a good idea to leave the sun out altogether by hiding it directly behind your main subject or not having it at all in the image. It's particularly important in silhouette photos to be aware of the background you place your silhouettes against. When using the sky as the background, look for interesting patterns and formations in the clouds. See how you can use these elements to create a truly unique photo. Shooting from a low angle is another trick to greatly improve the surrounding of your silhouettes. This allows you to position your subject against unique backdrops and avoid the horizons cutting through your subjects. Don't be afraid to get down on your knees or even lie flat on your belly if needed. Frame the shot carefully. Use the rules of thirds or leading lines to make the silhouettes more dynamic. And don't be afraid to experiment with different angles and compositions, shooting from different heights, distances, and perspectives. Add variety to your shots. Even though auto-white balance does a great job most of the time, you can take more control by setting your white balance using color temperature, which is measured in Kelvin. Color temperatures describe how warm or cool a light source appears. And your camera's Kelvin settings let you choose that look deliberately. If you want a cooler, crisper look, try setting your camera between about 4000 and 5000 Kelvin. For a warmer, glowing look that works beautifully with silhouettes at sunset, push it higher. Around 6000 to 8000 Kelvin is a great starting point to experiment with. Now I'm going to talk about the 5 most common mistakes that you need to avoid to master your silhouettes. But before I do that, please take a moment to join our growing community of wildlife photography enthusiasts and sign up for our world-famous Friday Focus newsletter. You can scan the QR code on the screen now to receive an email full of photo tips, gear reviews, safari advice, and plenty of wildlife photography content each week. If the horizon cuts through your subject's body or head, it breaks the shape and weakens the impact of the silhouette, sometimes making the animal hard to recognize. Try to position yourself so the horizon either sits clearly below the subject or well above it. Your subject needs a strong, recognizable outline. Overlapping animals, tangled legs, or merging heads can quickly turn into a confusing blob. So look for clear gaps between subjects and separate your main subject from the herd as much as possible. If you let the sky or sun blow out, you lose color and drama in the background. Dial in your exposure so you keep detail and richness in the sky, even if that means your subject goes completely black. That's exactly what you want in a silhouette. Using an aperture that's too wide, like f2.8, can leave parts of your subject soft or slightly out of focus, especially against a bright background. For silhouettes, you usually want good sharpness across the whole animal. So stop down a bit to increase depth of field. With moving subjects like birds in flight or running animals, too slow a shutter speed will introduce motion blur and ruin the crisp edge of the silhouette. Keep an eye on your shutter speed and raise your ISO if needed to freeze that movement cleanly. And that's it. Remember, shooting silhouettes is all about using the light creatively, choosing the right subject, and finding those stunning backdrops. If you have found what I have shared useful, please remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more episodes. I hope to see you on safari very soon.